What if the person you've been thinking about hasn't reached out, not because they've moved on, but because they are sitting somewhere right now, quietly coming apart at the seams, and they don't even know how to begin to say it? What if the silence isn't absence, but wait? What if the stillness you're interpreting as forgetting is actually grief? Stay with me. Because the cards today are not playing around, and Spirit has been trying to get this message to you for a while now. You need to hear this. Welcome back, beautiful soul, or if this is your first time here, welcome home. I'm so glad you found your way to this reading today, because I truly believe nothing lands in front of you by accident. If you were drawn to click on this video, if that title stopped your scroll and made your heart do something, listen to that. That's your intuition recognizing itself in the message. This is a collective reading, which means I'm speaking to a group of souls all at once. Not every single word will apply to every single person watching, and that's completely okay. Take what resonates deeply, what makes your chest tighten or your eyes sting a little, and gently set aside what doesn't feel like yours. You'll know the difference. Let's take a breath together before we begin. Breathe in, and let it go. We're creating a space here, one that's safe, sacred, and honest. Let's see what the cards and Spirit have to say. The first card that came forward for this reading is called the Awakening, and I want you to understand right away, this card is not about you. This card is about them. Something shifted for this person. Something cracked open in the most unexpected way, and it wasn't comfortable. Awakenings rarely are. Spirit is showing me an image of a window shattering, not violently, but slowly, like a pane of glass spider webbing from a single point of pressure right in the center. That's what happened inside of them. One moment. One realization. And the whole view changed. They finally saw it. Whatever it was that they weren't letting themselves see before, the truth of what they had with you, the weight of what they walked away from, the cost of the choice they made, it landed. Like really landed. Not as a passing thought or a moment of wondering, but as a full body knowing that settled in and refused to leave. I'm hearing the word clarity. And it feels bittersweet in this energy, because clarity, when it comes late, can be one of the most painful gifts a person receives. They see clearly now. And what they see is the outline of something they may have taken for granted, something they may have minimized or mishandled, something they now understand the full shape of only because it's no longer in their hands. That's not a small thing. That's not someone who's simply lonely or bored or cycling through nostalgia. The awakening tells me this person has genuinely reckoned with something. They've looked at themselves honestly, maybe for the first time in a long time, and that honesty is both freeing and devastating for them simultaneously. For some of you, this happened recently. Within the last few weeks, or even days. For others, this awakening has been slowly building for months, but it reached a tipping point. Either way, they are not the same person right now that they were before. The second card is the Ache, and I need a moment here because the energy around this card is heavy. Not dark, heavy. There's a difference. This isn't a negative or toxic energy. This is pure, unfiltered longing, and it is enormous. They miss you. I don't mean they've had a few thoughts about you that they quickly brushed aside. I mean they carry it. Physically. Spirit is showing me the weight of something sitting right in the chest, not sharp like a wound, but dense, like something pressing from the inside. Like trying to breathe underwater that isn't quite deep enough to drown you, but just enough that every breath requires effort. For some of you, this person hasn't said a word. They haven't texted. They haven't reached out through social media. And you may be interpreting that silence as indifference. I want to gently offer you a different possibility. The silence is because they don't know how. The ache is too big for language right now. They are afraid that anything they say will come out wrong, incomplete, insufficient, and so they say nothing, and that nothing grows heavier every single day. I'm getting a channeled message here, and I want to share it with you. It feels like it's coming from a place of deep vulnerability, so I'm going to be careful with the words. They're saying something like, I think about you in the in-between moments. Not just when something reminds me of you, though that happens constantly, but in the moments when nothing is happening. When I'm driving and the song changes. When I wake up before my alarm goes off and it's still dark. When I laugh at something and then immediately feel something drop in my chest because you're not there to hear me laugh. I don't know what to do with how much I miss you. I didn't know it could feel like this. If that landed in your body, then this is for you. Sit with it for a moment. You don't have to do anything with it right now. The ache also carries within it a spiritual message about depth. When something creates this kind of longing in a person, when the absence of someone leaves this specific kind of hollow, it's because the presence was profound. You meant something real to them. You still do. The ache is the evidence of that. Now here is where the reading takes an interesting and beautiful turn, because card 3, Palpable Lightness, is very specifically for you. The person watching. This one isn't about them. It's about what's happening in your own field, your own energy, your own life. There is a lifting happening around you right now. I keep seeing sunlight coming through clouds in fast forward, the way it does in time-lapse photography, dramatic and golden and sudden. That's your energy. Something is shifting in your favor. Something that felt stuck, heavy, or stagnant is beginning to move. I want to pause here because for a collective reading, this is significant. Some of you may have been going through something genuinely hard, not just with this person, but in other areas of your life. Health, finances, family, creative energy, sense of self. And Spirit wants you to know, the ground is stabilizing beneath your feet. The hardest part of this particular chapter is behind you, even if it doesn't fully feel that way yet. The word optimism is coming up, and it doesn't feel forced or performative here, it feels earned. Like the kind of optimism that comes after you've actually been through something real and you've discovered that you're still standing. That kind of hope has roots. It isn't naive. It's resilient. Interestingly, this card also speaks to the energetic dynamic between you and this other person. As you rise, as your energy elevates, as you step more fully into your own life and your own light, they feel it. Even if you haven't spoken. Even if there's been no contact. Energy doesn't require proximity to be felt. The version of you that is healing, growing, becoming more aligned with yourself, that version of you is very compelling to them from a distance. And they don't entirely understand why they can't stop thinking about you, but this card tells me your energy is part of the answer. Card 4 is Destined Connection, and this is where I want to speak very carefully, because I know that words like destined and soul connection can sometimes be used in ways that feel dismissive of free will, or like a permission slip to wait indefinitely for someone who isn't showing up. I don't mean it that way. I want to honor your autonomy completely while still sharing what Spirit is giving me here. What I'm seeing with this card is a thread. A golden, luminous thread running between two people, not a chain, not a tether, not something trapping anyone in place, but a thread. Something that connects, something that communicates even across silence and distance. Spirit is telling me that the bond between you and this person has layers that go beyond what you can fully explain with logic or timeline or circumstance. This wasn't a random encounter. Whatever brought you two together, however that looked, however messy or beautiful or complicated it wasn't coincidence. There was a recognition that happened between your souls at some level, even if your human personalities struggled to hold it, even if the timing was wrong, even if things fell apart in ways that were painful and confusing. For some of you, this feels like something you already knew but weren't sure you were allowed to believe. Let me give you permission, you're allowed to believe it. The things we feel most deeply are often the truest. The Destined Connection card also carries a message about unfinished business, not in a haunting way, but in the sense that the story between you two hasn't concluded. There are still chapters. What those chapters look like depends on the choices both of you make going forward, but Spirit is not showing me a closed door here. I see a door that's ajar. There is light on the other side. What walks through it, and when, is still in the hands of the living. Another channeled message is coming in, and this one feels quieter, more internal, like something they've been thinking but haven't spoken even to themselves fully yet. I keep trying to talk myself out of what I feel because it's easier that way. Easier to say it was timing, or circumstances, or that we were just two people who crossed paths for a reason and the reason was to teach each other something. But that doesn't fully hold. There's something about you I can't explain away. And I've tried. I've really tried. Card 5 is fear of rejection, and this card explains so much about the silence. So much. This person wants to reach out to you. I feel this very clearly. There is an impulse, a reaching, almost like watching someone extend their hand and then pull it back before making contact. Over and over again. They start the message and delete it. They pick up the phone and put it down. They replay conversations in their head, imaginary ones, the ones where they finally say what they've been holding, and then they talk themselves out of sending anything real. Why? Because they are terrified of what you'll say. Not because they think you're cruel, but because they have done enough self-reflection now to understand that they may have hurt you, disappointed you, failed you in ways that matter. And that self-awareness, which is actually healthy and a sign of genuine growth, has created a paralysis. They love you enough to be afraid of losing you permanently if they get this wrong. Think about that for a second. The very thing keeping them from reaching out is the depth of what they feel. Fear of rejection is only crippling when something enormous is at stake. You don't lose sleep over losing something you're indifferent about. Spirit is also showing me something specific here, and I want to share it because it might be the thing that explains the unexpected way you'll know they're missing you, the thing the title of this reading promised. It's not going to come as a text message. It's not going to come as a social media post or a midnight call or a grand gesture, at least not yet, and maybe not at all in those forms. What you may notice is something subtler. Mutual friends who bring up their name in conversation in ways that feel oddly placed. Dreams that feel more vivid and real than usual, where they appear and the emotional residue lingers into your morning. A sudden strong feeling, out of nowhere, while you're doing something completely mundane, that they are thinking about you right in that moment. Trust it. That's not imagination. That's the energetic connection between two people who haven't lost the thread. Some of you may also notice physical signs, things they showed you an appreciation for, a song that plays out of nowhere, a place you used to go together that appears in your peripheral vision. Pay attention to repetition. When something shows up more than twice, that's not coincidence. That's communication. And we arrive at our final card, New Beginnings. And I want to cry a little, honestly, because this card coming in at the end of this particular reading feels like exhaling. Like the universe putting its hand on your shoulder and saying, it's okay. Something good is coming. Don't give up yet. What broke, whatever broke, between you and this person or within your own life, is becoming the foundation of something stronger. I'm seeing the image of a bone that's been fractured and healed. And here's what's true about that, where a bone heals after a break, that specific spot becomes denser than the surrounding tissue. It becomes the strongest part. What broke you, what broke this connection, what shattered your expectations or your certainty, that very thing, if you let it, becomes the strongest thing about you. About the potential between you. New Beginnings is not a card about going back to what was. It's a card about beginning again with the wisdom of everything that happened. There is a crucial distinction there. You are not being called to recreate the past. You are being shown the outline of something that could be built, if both people choose it, that is deeper, more honest, more grounded than anything that came before. For some of you, this beginning is with this specific person. For others, and I want to say this gently, the new beginning is yours alone, and it is equally beautiful. Sometimes a person comes into our life not to stay forever but to open a door inside us that we didn't know existed. And walking through that door, even alone, is the beginning. Either way, the path forward is lit. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just need the next step. Before I close this reading, I want to share one final channeled message, and this one feels like it's coming from a higher vantage point, maybe from your own higher self, or from whatever guides surround you. It feels wide and warm and certain in the way that only truth feels certain. You have not been forgotten. You have not been replaced. The quiet on the other end of this connection is not the quiet of someone who has moved on, it is the quiet of someone who is still, finally, figuring out what they mean. What you mean. What this means. Give it space. Give yourself space. The love that's meant for you cannot pass you by. It can only find you when you've cleared enough room to receive it without shrinking. Stand in your light right now. Not because it will bring them back, though it may. But because it is who you are. And who you are has always been enough. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, truly. This reading moved me, and I hope it offered you something you needed, even if it's just the permission to feel what you already knew was true. Remember, this was a collective reading, so take what resonated and let the rest go without guilt. Your intuition is your compass, it always has been. If this reading connected with you, please give it a like and consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it too. Subscribe if you'd like to join this community, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, be gentle with yourself. You're doing better than you know.